The government announces changes to the $2 subsidy scheme for the elderly. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Fears of escalating tensions in the Middle East triggered a broad sell-off across Asia-Pacific markets. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index plunged more than 1,000 points at one point, extending losses for a third straight session. As the turmoil in the Middle East continues to rattle Asia-Pacific markets, Hong Kong was not spared from the dip. The city's benchmark Hang Seng Index opened sharply lower by 488 points, breaching the 25,000 mark. Losses deepened throughout the session, with the index at one point sliding 1,073 points, its lowest level since July last year. It eventually closed down 894 points at 24,382, with turnover at $368.6 billion. A market strategist says geopolitical uncertainty could continue to drag sentiment, but he says a protracted conflict on the scale of the Russia-Ukraine war is unlikely, given the mounting financial burden on the U.S. and the potential impacts on its economy, inflation, and upcoming elections. He adds that the Hang Seng's near-term support level is at around 23,000 points. Financial stocks led the decline, with HSBC sliding 4%, slipping below $120. Gold prices weakened further, dragging down mining stocks. Tech stocks also weighed on the market. Kuaishou, Alibaba, and Meituan each dropped around 3%. Only two blue chips were spared, with the China National Offshore Oil Corporation, or CNOOC, holding steady, and Geely Auto gaining about 2%. On the mainland, all four major indices retreated, with both the Shanghai Composite and Shenzhen Component Index down around 3%. The Hong Kong government has raised the outbound travel alert for Iran and Israel to black. In view of the latest developments in the region, the Security Bureau advised Hong Kong residents to avoid all travel to Israel and Iran. Those already there should attend to their personal safety and leave or relocate to relatively safe regions immediately. Hong Kong authorities have also issued the yellow travel alert for Bahrain, Jordan, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. Israel destroyed a key bridge on the southern Lebanese coastal highway over the strategic Litani River on Sunday. Israel has expanded the military's list of targets in Lebanon. Meanwhile, thousands of displaced families in Beirut are setting up tents wherever they can find space as they struggle to cope with life away from home. Daniel Rao tells us more.
Israel destroyed a key bridge on the southern Lebanese coastal highway over the strategic Litani River on Sunday. Israeli military spokesperson Avichai Adrei issued a warning an hour before the Kashmir bridge near the coastal city of Tyre was struck. This comes after Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz expanded the military's list of targets in Lebanon to include all bridges over the country's Litani River, a focal point of the renewed Israel-Hezbollah conflict. Katz accused Lebanon's Iran-backed militant group of using the crossings over the waterway about 30 kilometers north of Israel's border to move fighters and weapons into southern Lebanon. Katz also ordered the Israeli military to accelerate its destruction of Lebanese homes near Israel's northern border to eliminate threats to Israeli communities. He said that strategy aligns with how Israel carried out its devastating military campaign against Hamas in Gaza. Hezbollah said it was behind a strike that killed a man in the northern Israeli town of Mizrav-Am in what the Israeli military said seemed to be a rocket attack. Meanwhile, thousands of displaced families in Beirut are setting up tents wherever they can find space as they struggle to cope with life away from home. Makeshift shelters have now spread into most areas of Beirut. Dozens of families have laid down mattresses and used tarps and blankets to create temporary living spaces by the French ambassador's residence. The influx of displaced people has stretched Lebanon's already fragile infrastructure, with public spaces turning into informal encampments and humanitarian resources under strain. Aid groups have warned of growing challenges in providing clean water, sanitation and healthcare. Daniel TV News.
The government said a revised $2 public transport fare scheme for senior citizens will take effect on April 3rd. The change could result in a saving of over $500 million for the government. Mimosing reports.
The existing concession scheme allows senior citizens aged 60 or above and persons with disabilities to take public transport rides with a flat rate of $2. Under the revised scheme, beneficiaries can no longer enjoy $2 rides whenever they go. For journeys that cost $10 or less, individuals can continue to pay the flat $2 rate. But trips that cost more than $10, a model of $2 flat rate or 80% discount will be applied, meaning passengers will pay 20% of the full fare of those rides. Long journey bus fare will become more expensive. Take bus route 952 as an example. The bus travels between Two Moon and Causeway Bay, and the full journey costs $24.2. Under the revised scheme, passengers will pay $4.84 and not the flat $2 rate for the ride. Some beneficiaries said they could only accept the new measure. I would take fewer long journey trips in the future to save money, this man said. I only take public transport when I need to, so I will not stop traveling to places because of the increased fare, this woman explained. Secretary for Labour and Welfare Chris Soon said the revised scheme can improve the government's financial situation.
The estimated annual savings arising from the new measure will be around 550 million. So that's going to be save the public monies.
Soon said authorities will introduce the proposed monthly cap of 240 concessionary trips next year. He said authorities will remind the elderly about the changes, including putting up posters at about 2,000 spots across the city. Moments 9, TVB News.
Hong Kong Post today announced that the principal postage rates will go up with effect from April 13th. Letters weighing 30 grams or less will be adjusted from the existing postage of $2.20 to $2.40. Hong Kong Post said the rise is needed to offset escalating operating costs, in particular conveyance costs and terminal dues payments. Overall, the postage increases for over 90% of local mail and surface mail will be within 20 cents. Hong Kong Post said electronic communication is replacing traditional correspondence, while market competition from commercial delivery services is severe. It says it will continue its efforts to generate revenue through its e-commerce business. And still ahead, the observatory forecasts there will be between 4 and 7 tropical cyclones this year. The University of Science and Technology offers free early Alzheimer's screening for thousands of elderly people. And a plane struck a fire truck on the runway in a New York airport, killing 2 people. Welcome back. The Hong Kong University of Science and Technology has rolled out a 5-year scheme which offers free early Alzheimer's screening for 6,000 stay-at-home elderly people. In Hong Kong, 1 in every 10 senior citizens aged 60 or above suffers from dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, which accounts for about 70% of dementia cases. The HKUST team launched a brain care community project for the elderly in collaboration with Tonghua College, as well as more than 10 social welfare organizations. The plan is to recruit 6,000 senior citizens aged 60 to 75 through over 40 community or elderly care centers. The screening process includes cognitive assessment and clinical diagnosis with AI-powered multi-protein blood test analysis. 350 participants will be selected for brain imaging scans, with follow-up visits arranged after about 2 to 3 years. The scheme has been piloted for 1 month with about 500 elderly people recruited. HKUST President Professor Nancy Ip, who is also the director at the Hong Kong Center for Neurodegenerative Diseases, says the team hopes early detection and medical intervention can help delay Alzheimer's patients' cognitive decline. And the scheme targets stay-at-home elderly.
We are trying to target the biggest populations, not that those that are already being seen in the hospital, not that those that are already has to be institutionalized because of various disease problems. So it is fulfilling our aim to identify early.
The scheme is expected to eventually reach around 30,000 beneficiaries, including support to caregivers. Two Mun Hospital has completed Hong Kong's first non-invasive magnetic resonance-guided focused ultrasound treatment for a patient with Parkinson's disease. The treatment avoids the need to open the skull of the patient in an operation. According to the hospital, the procedure can reduce patients' tremors by 90%. Samantha Lee has more.
The first patient to undergo the treatment is Mr. Chen, who is a construction site supervisor. The 54-year-old was diagnosed with tremor-dominant Parkinson's disease back in 2021. The uncontrollable shaking of hands forced him to stop working. He said, even when I walked slowly, my hands couldn't stop shaking. I didn't want to go out as I couldn't control my body. I tried many medications, but none had improved my condition. There are more than 12,000 Parkinson's disease patients in Hong Kong. About 30% of tremor-dominant patients do not respond effectively to medication. Two Mun Hospital introduced Hong Kong's first magnetic resonance-guided focused ultrasound treatment in 2024. The procedure does not require opening the skull. Instead, it combines magnetic resonance imaging and focused ultrasound technologies, delivering over 1,000 ultrasound beams through the skull to precisely ablate the target areas. Being the first patient in the city to receive the new procedure, Mr. Zheng said with the treatment, there were much less hand tremors. I was holding a pen during the operation. When the energy was applied, the shaking just stopped. The medical team cited international data that showed a 90% improvement rate for similar cases. Dr. Lo Hengyuan, a consultant in neurosurgery at Two Mun Hospital, cautioned that tremors can sometimes return as Parkinson's is degenerative. He said about 10 to 20% of patients may see a recurrence and require follow-up treatment. Two Mun Hospital said it will conduct the procedure to 40 local patients within 2 years. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
The observatory has forecast Hong Kong will have a hotter summer than usual. The city is also expected to see between 4 and 7 tropical cyclones, which is considered a normal frequency. Samantha Lee again.
The observatory held a briefing today on the weather outlook for Hong Kong this year, with El Niño expected to develop later this year and the continued warming of the climate. The annual mean temperature in Hong Kong is likely to be above average in 2026. The observatory said there is a chance it could be in the top 10 hottest years on record in the city. In the second quarter, the observatory will begin providing heat stress indices for more districts across Hong Kong. The tropical cyclone season is expected to start in June and end in October at the latest. Around 4 to 7 tropical cyclones are forecast to enter within 500 kilometers of Hong Kong.
The sea surface temperature will be much warmer than normal over the eastern equatorial Pacific. On the other hand, for the western equatorial Pacific, the sea surface temperature will be closer to normal or even lower than normal. In that case, the tendency is for the tropical cyclones to form further east, and then also they have higher tendency to recurve to the higher latitude. As a result, the impact of Hong Kong will not be as much as in terms of number in comparison with last year.
Any rainfall in Hong Kong is expected to be near usual levels, ranging from 2,100 to 2,700 millimeters. However, rainstorms and heavy rain may occur in the city. Additionally, the observatory's mobile app will provide weather information for popular travel destinations, such as South Korea and Thailand. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Amendments have been made to the Hong Kong National Security Law. Starting today, the police can demand phone or computer passwords from those who are suspected of violating the law. The government has announced several changes to the Hong Kong National Security Law, which was introduced in 2020. Under the new rules, those who refuse to surrender passwords of their electronic devices will face 1 year imprisonment and a fine of up to $100,000. The revised laws also state the procedures, requirements, and time limits for enforcement agencies to access materials that are subject to legal professional privilege. Another change, individuals under investigation who leave Hong Kong without permission will face a fine of $100,000 and 1 year imprisonment. In New York's LaGuardia Airport, an Air Canada regional jet struck a fire truck on the runway after landing late Sunday night, crushing the nose of the plane and killing 2 people. 2 Port Authority employees who were traveling in the fire truck also were injured. The airport was ordered closed until 2 p.m. Monday to facilitate investigation. There were 72 passengers and 4 crew aboard the aircraft, which is a jet aviation flight operating on behalf of Air Canada. The flight originated from Montreal. Police in London are investigating a suspected anti-Semitic hate crime after vehicles belonging to a Jewish ambulance service were set on fire early Monday morning. Daniel Rao has details.
Officers were called to Golders Green, a London neighbourhood with a large Jewish population, after receiving reports of a fire. 4 ambulances belonging to Hatzolah Northwest, a volunteer organisation that provides emergency medical response, were damaged, according to the London Fire Brigade. It said multiple cylinders on the vehicles exploded, causing windows to break in an adjacent block of flats, adding no injuries have been reported and the fire has been brought under control. British police are investigating the attack as an anti-Semitic hate crime. An eyewitness described the incident.
So I was at home and I live up the street and I heard some loud explosions and I checked the news and I saw that there was an attack locally. So I came and I arrived just as a 3rd ambulance was blowing up. Very loud explosion and you sort of felt it go through your gut. Very terrifying moment to actually see an ambulance go up in flames, and we're still all reeling from the shock.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer condemned what he called a deeply shocking anti-Semitic arson attack. Shoreham, a non-profit organisation which operates a neighbourhood watch in the area, said it was not only a criminal act of arson, but a targeted and deeply concerning incident affecting a vital emergency service serving the local Jewish community. Dunrell, TV News.
More than 300 humanoid robots will compete in the 2nd Beijing Half Marathon in April. Organized by the Beijing Municipal Bureau of Economy and Information Technology, the event will kick off on April 19th with participants from Hong Kong this year. A new feature of this year's race is that human athletes and robots will compete side by side. The organizer says it had received applications from 76 institutions as of early March, involving more than 100 teams. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.